So now we're going to do some examples where we look for the values that make the expression undefined. And remember, these are rational expressions. Okay, so if you want to do that, example 1, determine the value for which each rational expression is undefined. Okay, so if you want to do that, you take the denominator and you set it equal to 0. So you say, when does that equal 0? Well, in this case, you divide both sides by 8, and you get x equals 0. So the value where it's undefined, value where it's undefined is 0. Now 0 is not always the answer, for one thing, but it is in this case because it makes the denominator 0. So you don't have to write this out every time. You can just put 0 because the question is asking what value or values make the expression undefined. Okay? Now you might be saying, well, what about the 3y squared up there in the numerator? Don't we care about that? Well, not right now, we don't. We're just trying to find where the expression is undefined. And what it means is we can't allow x to equal 0 in this case, because then the whole expression is undefined. Okay? All right, so the next one, you take the denominator, 3n plus 1, set it equal to 0. You're going to solve that by subtracting 1 on both sides and then dividing by 3. And so the value where it's undefined is negative 1/3. Now, I don't like to put that n equals that because actually that's what n can't equal because it makes the expression undefined. So remember, we're looking for values that make the expression undefined. And if you're worried about the numerator, the 8n minus 5, don't worry about it. We're just looking for values that make the expression undefined. And the denominator, what makes it undefined is when the denominator equals 0. So that's what we can't have. Okay, so we have one more. So we have this denominator right here, a squared plus 4a plus 3 equals 0. That's what we're trying to find. When does that denominator equal 0? Okay, well that is a quadratic equation. Yay! So that's what we were working on in chapter 6, and we want to factor that quadratic equation. So, or factor that polynomial. So we need two numbers that multiply to be 3, add to be 4, however you set it up. Anyway, it's going to wind up being a plus 3 and a plus 1. And then remember, this is the zero product property where you set them each equal to 0. So a plus 3 could equal 0, or a plus 1 could equal 0. And then you solve those linear equations. You subtract 3 here, you get a equals negative 3. Subtract 1 here, you get a equals negative 1. Okay, what that means then is there are two values where this expression is undefined. Two values where it's undefined. And you don't have to write all that out either. I just want to make a point that this time we got two values, and the values where it's undefined, negative 3 and negative 1. Okay, so we're going to, now the whole chapter isn't just working with the denominator and where things are undefined. We're going to work with the whole rational expression in the next few videos. But right now we're just talking about what would make the expression undefined. When is the denominator equaling 0? Okay.